And yeah, it seems like a lot, but I mean, keep in mind, I am really taking my time. I want to understand the systems. That's the point of a DCS aircraft to me, especially one like this where all you do is take it up and fly it around. It doesn't have weapons yet. So I love the systems. That's what I'm interested in. Okay, hey, there's a canopy emergency jettison handle. Speaking of systems, let me not click that by mistake. So, yeah, don't be intimidated by all the stuff that there is here. It's a lot simpler than I'm making it out to be. I'm just really trying to understand exactly how the stuff works, because that's what I'm into. If you're just into firing it up and getting into the air, you can always do that too. Sometimes that's what I do. So there's really no right or wrong way to do any of this stuff. And let me see, I've been going for right at an hour. I'm probably on like video number 4 or 5 at this point, but I'm having a lot of fun. This is what I love doing. So let's go ahead and taxi this aircraft. Okay, chocks out. I think the chocks come out automatically once I close the canopy. Okay, so we'll take that as good. Parking brake in. Okay, parking brake is... Ooh, I just clicked a switch. I didn't mean to click. Okay, that's back to the center position. Okay, now parking brake. Make sure I've got the right one. Okay, parking brake handle in. Okay. Okay, so... brakes test. And I can't remember if I mapped my brakes to my rudder or if I just did a... Sometimes if that axis isn't available, which I don't remember if it is, let me check. I need to see what I mapped my brakes to. Okay, and it was under C-101EB systems, and it's wheel brake on. I have it mapped to joystick button 4, which in my case is my little it's a paddle switch on the base of my Warthog joystick. So I don't have the option yet to, unless I'm mistaken, to have a wheel brake axis, and I think that's a limitation of the standard flight model. That'll come later on, I'm sure, once the advanced flight model version of the aircraft comes out. So let's see here. Brakes test. So what I would do is I would pump the brakes, and the crew chief would verify that the brake pads are actually actuating back and forth. And I'll also do another brakes check once I start to taxi forward. I'll pump the brakes real quick just to make sure that they work as I start to taxi. So taxi thrust is max 76% in 2. Flight controls, check free, full and free. Flight instruments, check. Transfer pumps, auto. Okay, let me slow down here. I guess there's a little bit more to this than I thought there would be. Okay, brakes test, taxi thrust, max 76% in 2. Do I do that now, or do I just do that once I'm ready to taxi? Because I still have some stuff to check here. Flight controls. Okay, let me just hold the brakes, just in case, or just for the heck of it. I'll go ahead and advance to 76% in 2. Although, no, that doesn't make sense, does it? I'll pull it back to idle, and I'll just run through the rest of the stuff and only do that once I'm ready to taxi. Now, check flight controls full and free. Okay, so aileron controls looking good. Elevators. Rudder. Yep, I can see it moving back there. Okay, good to go. And I need to now go to engine instruments check. So, okay, good RPMs, good ITT, oil pressure, I'll get to once we have a gauge. Oil temperature is good, fuel flow is good, I've got good hydraulic pressure. Fuel flow is normal, so we're good there. Okay, now I need to go fuel transfer pumps, check auto. So, pump 1, 2, 3, and 4, auto, green lights on, which I'm assuming green means good. And fuselage tank pump, check on. Okay, fuselage tank pump. Okay, this was the one up here. Fuselage tank pump. And this was one of those oddball things where the light is illuminated if it is off. So the light is off, so it is on. That's going to drive me nuts, but I'm sure there's a reason it's set up that way. It's just escaping me now. Okay, so let's go to fuel valve, check open. Now, fuel valve is this one right here. It's another one. If it was off, it would be illuminated. Fuel valve is good. Now, fuel quantity selector, fuselage. And the fuselage is illuminated, so that is my fuselage quantity that is displayed, and that's my total quantity. So I'll just leave it in the fuselage position for now. we're going to go to air brake, check in. Air brake is in, flaps, check takeoff. Flaps are in the takeoff position. Okay, gear, check 3 green. I have 3 green. I need to go calls panel, no lights, no lights. I need to go harness check. Okay, got it. Trims, check -1.5 and 0. Now this isn't telling us anything right now, so I'm going to take that as good. And takeoff clearance request. Okay, so we'll take that as good as well. Now, before entering runway checklist, so at this point, I can go ahead and taxi. So I'm just going to taxi out here to the... I'll just taxi forward a little bit, maybe taxi out to the end of the runway and taxi her back. Now, let me just get a feel for what's going on here. I've got my brakes held. Okay, brakes are released. Now, let me throttle up. Okay, I'm moving. Little brake check. Okay, good check of the brakes. I'll just take it off to the left and just stay right here on the ramp. Okay, so nose wheel steering is just going to be with the rudder. Okay, yeah, very responsive. I'm just going to take it slow and easy. Make sure that I don't get out of control. Okay, 2, are you going out? Of course. Yeah, why wouldn't you do that? Okay, so let me take it off to the left. It's kind of a it's kind of a bad situation to get into. Believe it or not, I have seen this exact situation on a airfield before, and it takes a while to clean up. Especially if they do get too close, you have to actually get out there with a tow crew and tow one of them out of the way, because you can't go in reverse in an aircraft, or most aircrafts you can't go in reverse. But that's just funny. I actually should have known that he would do that. Usually I account for that and expect that to happen. Okay, so good nose wheel steering. Yeah, very responsive. Okay, that's going to be easy until we get the advanced flight model, and then little quirkiness of the aircraft and the handling like that really come out as the flight models start to get more and more developed. Okay, so I'll just bring it back around here to the left, taxi back to my parking spot. But yeah, let me take it off to the left here. I'll just hold and go through the before takeoff checklist right here. Okay, brakes in. I'll just hold the brakes right here. Okay, before entering runway, canopy closed and locked. Got it. Anti-skid, test, and on. So anti-skid would be... I would expect it to be right down here somewhere. I'm probably wrong on that. Let me look around a little bit. I'll get right back with you. Okay, yeah, and the anti-skid switch is right up here on the top of the main console. It's another one of these. These are going to be drive me insane in this aircraft. It's one that it's illuminated when it's off. So I have no light on the anti-skid. I'm going to take that as anti-skid system is working properly. That's a good test of the system. And I'm going to leave that on, which is light off. Okay, sure. Let's go with pitot heat on. Okay, pitot heat on. Got it. And that one, of course, yeah, it's on when the light is on. Go figure. Now I want to go to seat clamp released. Seat clamp. I am not sure what that is referring to on this particular model of seat. Seat clamp. I would expect this to be where I arm the seat. That might be just releasing a clamp. Might be like a final, sort of like flipping the guard down on an Aces 2, or flipping the handle down on an Aces 2. That might be what it's referring to here, except it's a clamp that gets released. I'll research that and get back to you in the next video, or in the next part of the series, I'm sure. Ignition mode, continuous. Now, okay, so I have an ignition mode up here. I have the up position, which is ignition on. I have the down position, which is continuous. Now, I think this is just going to be used during critical phases of flight. Since we only have one engine, we don't want to risk a flame out or an engine failure on takeoff or landing or during any critical phase of flight. So I'm going to have this in the continuous setting for takeoff, and then it goes back up to the normal position once I'm airborne. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Okay, and that's just going to continuously send power to the igniter just to help prevent a flame out. IFF code and norm, that's where I would enable the IFF. I'm going to leave that in standby. And let's see here, I've got airflow selector, check cabin. Now airflow selector, okay, yeah, it is in the cabin position, got it. Okay, nav aids checked and identified. I'm going to get to this in maybe the next little mission. I'll start to do some navigation. and then I'll identify them by the Morse code that I'll be able to hear once I tune to a station. I'm going to have audio telling me in Morse code what the station is, and I'll be identifying, making sure that I have the correct stations based off of that. Nav instruments set. It's a very, very, not complex, but it's a very, very capable navigation system here that I'm looking forward to getting to. Approach area clear. So I would just check that I don't have anything taking off and landing, not take the tower at its word. Then I would do the lineup checklist. Okay, ADI, test 0 and 0, gyro compass, anti-ice is required. Anti-ice is required. And then I would do the lineup check. I would do ADI, test 0 and 0, gyro compass, anti-ice, engine instruments, voltage. And then I get into the stuff in flight. Now let me come down to... Okay, let's go down to vacating the runway. Seat clamp set. Okay, so that's, yeah, same thing. Something on the seat. I'll figure out exactly what that is at some point. Pitot heat off. Okay, so I would disable the pitot heat. Anti-ice off. So that's where I would, if I had enabled it, or did I enable engine anti-ice? If I did enable it, I would turn it off, and I can't seem to remember where that is. I'll be right back in a second. Yeah, got it. Of course, it's right up here, just on this panel. The light is off, which means that the system is off. Okay, got it. Now, next, that is going to be ignition off. So I would disable the ignition switch back to the center position, light off, got it. Okay, landing lights off. I never did turn anything on as I taxied, so they are off. Air brake in, got it. Flaps up. They're in the takeoff position now. We'll go ahead and pull them to the up position. Okay, flaps are up. I want to go IFF off. Okay, I have it in standby because it's not modeled, but it is now off. I want to go VOR off, TACAN off. So VOR, I need to go, okay, just turn the dial until it is off. Okay, got it. TACAN off. Okay, chocks. Okay, now we're into the shutdown checklist. Let me go ahead and taxi back up to my parking spot. We'll pull back into chocks and shut her down. So yeah, that part of it seems very straightforward, and I'm thinking what I'm going to go back and research and start to do some translations from the manual on is definitely the electrical system, because I'm still not 100% convinced that I have a good configuration. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be on or off specifically, but yeah, I've got to figure a little bit more out on this and get into some more detail on that. Not because it's essential, it doesn't really matter as long as you have power on the systems. I just want to understand why I have power on the systems and why things work, and not just to take it for granted that they do. Okay, so chocks in, park and brake out, throttle idle. Now let me go park and brake out, and that's kind of touchy right there by those two switches and right by the granted I don't think there's a place right here where you can click on the gear handle. It is kind of touchy having it right there by those switches, but okay, got that. Throttle idle, yep, already got that. And then after 2 minutes of idle, air brake as required. And I don't know, there might be like if I go to the external view, I probably am supposed to leave the air brake out. A lot of times on an aircraft there will be certain things that need to be checked underneath certain panels. So there might be some things up there underneath the air brake that the crew chief would need to check as part of a post-flight or through-flight inspection. So I'm going to leave that out. That would seem like a reasonable thing to do, especially considering that it tells you as required in the checklist. Okay, flaps down and then up. So let's do a quick check of the flaps. They're going down. Okay, and then bring them back up. Okay, back up ADI cage. So let's see how we do this. Back up ADI. Okay, right click and turn the wheel. These are actually very, very fun to play with in a real aircraft. As you pull the little handle out, you can feel a gyro spinning up in there, and the gyro will continue to turn and allow the ADI to function even without power on the aircraft, but it eventually does spin down. And of course, when you do have power, it's going to start spinning the gyro for you as well. I know there's a combination of left clicking and turning and something that will get this to cage. I would imagine that there is, but then again, there might not be. And there's a little bug in DCS, all the aircraft have it now since a couple of updates ago, wherever you have and I'll show you right here, like on the console lights, the dial just kind of keeps turning. Well, it stopped turning now for some reason. I think I just completely broke it. See, it just keeps turning past the stop and goes back to the off position, so that might have something to do with why I couldn't do that just then on the backup ADI, but okay, I'll take it as if it's cache. Communications equipment all off, so I'm going to go UHF off, VHF off, and yeah, and that was it. Okay, air conditioning off, so let me go, it was in the on position, I'll go to the center off position. I need to go canopy, unlock and open. Yeah, and I believe that's what happens there. If I go off, if I go off, I believe that does deflate the canopy seal. So now I can unlock. Okay, got the master caution on for the canopy unlock. Now I can click here. And yeah, that's going to raise the canopy. And there's the canopy seal right there, in fact. The little beige thing that you see going around there, that just inflates. You can see it actually looks like it's inflated right now, although it's hard to tell. Okay, so let's see what is next. Okay, fuselage tank pump off, and then fuel transfer pumps off. So fuselage tank pump off, fuselage tank pumps off, and off. Okay, fuel pressure goes down, and that kicked back in. That might be normal. I'll read up on the fuel system and try to understand exactly what happened there. But that looked perfectly normal. Let's go to throttle idle cutoff. So let me pull it back to the cutoff position. And that's going to bring my engines down. Okay, got the warning, got the caution. That's just telling me that my generator's kicked off because now I have nothing but the battery keeping power on the aircraft. And that's normal. And then when N1 and N2 are 0, and they're still spooling down. When that's at 0, I go fuel valve closed, generator off, DC bus tie open. So I'll give these a second to spool down and then get on with it. So yeah, very, very surprised at how well that went, frankly, with the systems. It looks like, man, there's a lot of detail built into these systems. And it's only when you really dig into it, like I am here, that it really comes out and you really realize how difficult it is to put these aircraft together and to take a complex system on a modern aircraft, even if it's just something as simple as the fuel system or the hydraulic system, and make that work. Okay, N1 is still coming down, but I'll go ahead and press on anyway. Okay, fuel valve close. So I need to come up to here. This is the fuel valve. Okay, that one's closed, off. Okay, so I've got that, and generator off. So I need to go generator center position off. Okay, it was already off by default since the engine was not powering or was not running the generator. DC bus tie open. Okay, and open in this case would be off, is what that would mean. Let's see, that would be battery master off, cockpit illumination all off, external illumination all off. So battery master off. I wonder, do the cockpit lights just run off of the battery bus? Are these going to work for me with the battery off? I don't think so. Sometimes you'll see that. I bet some function of the... Oh, maybe I'll stand corrected here. But in a lot of cases, you'll still in an aircraft be able to run, like the emergency floodlights or part of the cockpit illumination, even if the battery switch is off, just because it's just tied into the battery bus and it's just drawing power no matter what. But yeah, apparently not. Wouldn't surprise me though if there was something modeled in this aircraft like that. External illumination all off. So let me go off, or actually that doesn't matter. I'll go to center position, off, and yeah, back to off on that one. I was playing around with it. Now just to help the crew chief out, go back to the lowest position on these switches, and okay, call that good. Oxygen valve close, aircraft vacate. And again, just to help the crew chief out, I'll press in the intercom button. And is there anything else that I would want to just you always want to leave an aircraft just like you found it, everything off, safe and normal, so that all the next guy has to hop in and do is just do a quick check around the cockpit and do whatever they need to do. You don't like to leave systems on. It looks like I caught everything. Everything is, as far as I can tell, back to sort of a default state. So that's it for the checklist. Boy, that was, how long did that take? That was about an hour and 20 minutes, I guess. I'll probably cut bits and pieces out so it'll flow a little bit better. I did pause in a few places just to reference the manual and to reference different places of the checklist as I was trying to find some switches, but very, very impressed with this. And yeah, next time around, believe me, it's not going to take this long every time. This is just it is my first time in the aircraft running any of these systems, so next time it'll just be hopping in, starting up. It'll be a takeoff, taxi, and landing mission next time, and then we'll get into some more detailed navigation. And more importantly, what happens is that every time you get into an aircraft and you go back and read the manual, things in the manual will make a lot more sense having run the systems this time in the aircraft. So that's what I'm going to do, is go back and read every little bit of information that I read before, and it'll just be in an all new light now, and everything will make a lot more sense, I'm sure. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time whenever I get back to the aircraft. I might wait until patches released for the aircraft just to be sure that any little bugs that have been found since release are squashed, so that I'm giving you kind of an accurate picture of the aircraft as it stands. But for now, hey, thanks again for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.